As many of you out there, I was very curious about what the deep web had to offer. I heard stories and rumors about what is going on over there, but I always had some skepticism about it. I'm the type of person that doesn't believe in internet stories until I experience them myself. One day, I downloaded Tor since it was the most popular browser for this usage, and I started exploring the deep web. After a lot of dead links, I stumbled across a website with a lot of gore pictures and videos. Being the curious type of person that I am, I scrolled through a lot of them, even though they made my stomach turn upside down. After about 5 minutes of scrolling and trying not to puke, a chat box appeared on my screen. Then a message popped in a box saying, "Did you enjoy the website?" After that, I typed in the chat box, "There must be something seriously wrong with you motherfuckers to post shit like that." Before I continue, I want to state that I am from Europe, Romania to be exact, and I thought that the guys that ran these websites are from US or Asia. So I thought that even if they got my address and stuff like that, they couldn't do anything to me because I was so far away from them. The other person in the chat box then replied, "So you didn't like it?" Then I continued, "Like it? Who in their right mind would like something like that, you piece of shit?" After almost a minute, the other person continued to post in the chat box my full name and home address. Still being cocky, I went on defying him. "Psst, so? What are you gonna do with that? I'm 1,000 miles away from you fuckers. You can't even touch me. Come on, do something. I dare you. Even if you fuck up my computer, this is an old one. I was planning on throwing it away anyways. You would just do me a favor." After a few seconds, the chat box disappeared, then reappeared after half a minute. After this, the other person typed, "You'll be sorry for this." Things started getting creepy at this point because he didn't write it in English as before. He wrote that in my language, in Romanian. I still tried acting cocky, saying, "Yeah, so? Everyone can use Google Translate, you little shit." He then started calling me names and swearing at me. The more fucked up thing about this is, if you type those things in Google Translate, you wouldn't get any result. The only way you can type these words is if you knew Romanian. My greatest fear came true at that moment. The motherfucker who was talking to me at that moment was from the same country as me. After realizing this, I tried closing Tor. Needless to say, I couldn't. It was like I had no control of my computer anymore. After a few more failed attempts, I pulled the plug out and my computer turned off. After this, I went out for a while, trying to regain my senses. After almost an hour, a friend of mine called me asking, "Dude, what's with all the fucked up shit you're posting on Facebook?" Right then, I made a connection. Whoever I was talking to had managed to hack my Facebook account. Immediately, I ended the phone call and turned on my computer. I tried logging on to Facebook, but I couldn't. All of my settings were changed, even my email address, so there was no way for me to recover it. It was the same thing with my Twitter, my Google account, everything. Every online account that I had was hacked. Being really freaked out, I called my friend again to tell him I was coming over to see what the other guy was posting. After I got to his place, he went on Facebook and showed me all the fucked up shit that the dude posted. Photos of corpses, taxidermies, mutilations, animal cruelty, tortures, all kinds of sick shit. That bastard posted like 100 of those photos in 1 hour. I then used my friend's Facebook to send a message to most of the people in my friends list, saying that my account was hacked and just to remove it from their list. A few seconds after I sent that message on Facebook, I received a text message on my phone from a hidden number. It said, "You think that's gonna stop me?" I felt like I was going insane at that point. I explained to my friend everything that happened, but he too was clueless about what I should do. I went home later that day and never plugged in that computer again. I dumped it in the trash that night and went on and bought a new one the day after. Before I did anything on it, I even changed my internet provider and phone number. Yes, I was that paranoid. After that, I created a new Facebook, Google, Twitter accounts and began to think that everything will be back to normal, like all of those crazy events that never happened, but boy was I wrong. The next day, my parents left for work at about 7 a.m. At 10 a.m. I woke up. I went in the yard and saw a plastic bag right next to my gate. I didn't think anything of it at first, But when I got close to it, a very powerful stench hit my nose. Trying not to inhale, I proceeded to open the bag. After opening it, I threw up on the spot. In the bag was a dead cat with its eyeballs missing and its guts ripped out. Even more scary, it wasn't just any cat, it was my friend's cat, the one that called me right after my Facebook was hacked. Inside the cat's mouth was a piece of paper. Sickened beyond words, I pulled the paper out of its mouth and opened it up. Inside it wrote, "Don't think that we forgot about you." I'm not joking when I'm saying this. I started crying right there. I started swearing to myself and even considered suicide at that point. I then gathered what little courage I had left and called the police. Obviously, they weren't able to do much about this whole situation. Later that day, I went on and bought a security cam and had someone set it up. I put it up on the fence right next to my gate. At least this way, if someone unwanted would come to my house again, we would at least see him. The only downside to it was that it couldn't be hidden very well, so everyone who looked towards my house would see it no problem. That night, I watched the monitor continuously. You know how it is when you buy a new toy, you feel the need to keep playing with it the first few days. That night around 2 a.m., I saw a black car with no license plates pull over in front of my house. It sat there for about 20 to 30 seconds and then it left. A few days went by and I started feeling a little bit safer. My friend was still worried about his cat missing. And no, I didn't tell him what happened. I didn't want him to blame it on me and then hate me for the rest of my life. Anyway, one night I was on Facebook talking to a cousin and then our electricity went out. I looked out the window and saw that my entire street was dark. I don't know why, but I couldn't help but think that whoever messed up my computer a few days back was behind this. I had a feeling that he or they were planning on doing something, so I immediately went into the yard. The most frightening thing about that night was that I happened to be home alone, so if something were to happen, I was going to face it alone. I grabbed a crowbar and got behind my gate. In my gate, I have a hole right by the doorknob, through which I could see very comfortably. I sat there for about half an hour, and just when I was about to give up, I heard a car pulling over just across the street. I took a peek through the gate and saw the same black car that came by a few days ago. For about 2 minutes, nothing happened. Whoever was in the car didn't come out. Right then, I thought of something. I took my cell phone and pointed its camera right through the hole in the gate. I thought that if someone was going to do something, at least I would have some proof of who it was. After another minute of waiting, I heard a car door opening and footsteps heading towards my house. Right there, I took a photo. The camera light shined bright on the dark street. Right after I took the photo, I heard whoever it was coming saying something like, "Oh shit," and then running back to the car. The car immediately sped out of there. Right after, I called the police. I showed them a photo of the man who was approaching my house. The policeman recognized him, saying that he was already a suspect for cases of robbery and attempted murder. After that night, nothing else suspicious happened. The guy never returned since, but unfortunately, the police didn't find him either. I eventually told my parents the whole story, and now we're looking to buy a new house. Who knows what would have happened that night if I hadn't went into the yard after the power fell. I'm still sorry about my friend's cat, but I'm still not sure if I should tell him what happened to it. So yeah, this was my story. Again, my goal isn't to brag about what I did. I just want to warn as many people as I can to keep off the deep web. Believe me, nothing good can come from visiting it. Please just take my advice and stay away from it. Don't let your curiosity get the best of you. I had visited the deep web on multiple occasions before this took place, but this story still makes me think of how messed up this world really is. I was browsing around the deep web, not looking for anything whatsoever, but I came across a page that read, "Forced rape and blackmailed for sex." I should have just shut my laptop off right then, but I didn't. Being the person that I am, I pressed enter without a second thought. What I saw horrified me. There were clips of women being gang raped, gagged, sodomized, and one woman was tied to a headboard. I distinctively remember that clip because it's still branded inside of me. There was a small box with a play button in the center. I hit the button and watched. A woman was suspended upside down. I could hear the fear in her voice. She said, "Please let me go." I felt sorry for her. Tears ran down her eyes and soaked her forehead. That's when I heard a male voice proclaim, "Stop fucking crying, you filthy whore. You deserve what's coming to you." I was taken back for a moment. What could she have done, I thought. Nonetheless, I kept watching. Little did I know what I was preparing to witness. I heard a noise. I couldn't hear it well, but it sounded like someone trying to start a lawnmower. Soon enough, I didn't have to wonder anymore. Out of the right side of the screen, a figure appeared, a masked figure holding a saw, a jigsaw, I believe. He turned toward the camera and laughed, a stomach-turning laugh. Another male voice came from behind the camera and joined the sick fuck in his laughter. Jesus Christ, I thought to myself. After a brief moment, the male voice I heard coming from behind the camera said, "Alright, let's give them what they came for." Not even 5 seconds after, the man with the saw inserted the saw into the young woman's vagina. I choked watching the blood spray up and around the room. He laughed as she screamed for mercy. She jolted and jumped and ferociously tried to escape the wire restraints, but sadly she couldn't. I couldn't watch this, so I closed my laptop and sat thinking to myself, wondering what to think of what I just saw. I know, I should have shut my laptop off, but I just left it. When I returned, the video had ended, leaving me to question myself. I was ready to shut off my laptop when I noticed a chat box in the right hand corner. Now I'm not sure if it was here the entire time or if it just popped up. I couldn't remember. I was glued to the awful video I had just seen. Inside the box read, "You stayed for most of it." What the fuck, I thought? No sooner did a second message appear. "Were you entertained?" I was disgusted. The sick ass people that did this thought it was some kind of fucking joke, a performance or something. I had enough. I replied, "Who does shit like this? If I ever see you, I'll kill you myself." I'm usually a laid back guy, but I have a temper, so when I get mad, I get really angry. About 15 seconds passed by when he replied, "Will you?" Not even a second after, he sent my full address, my IP, my laptop model, my name. But what really got me was what he said next. He said, "See you soon." I replied, "Say no more." Right then, I held the power button and watched the screen go black. I slid my laptop underneath my bed. Fuck, I thought to myself, how the fuck? I wonder how he got that information. I was sure I took the necessary precautions to browse anonymously. Nevertheless, I kept thinking who the fuck was he and what I was gonna do. I didn't fear the kid, I just thought he might be bluffing or something. For the next 2 days, when I went to work, I kept an eye over my shoulder, keeping a lookout for, any weird or suspicious shit. About 3.5 weeks later, the incident had drifted away from my memory. It didn't come up until one day after I came home from work around 3:50 p.m. I pulled into my neighborhood and was clearing the corner to reach the street my house was on. Now to give a good picture, before you even enter onto my street, my house was visible. I could see my driveway and even the garbage pails on the side of my house. Anyway, this is when I noticed a car parked in front of my place. Right then, the deep web incident resurfaced and I became suspicious. I stopped at the top of the street and watched for a few moments, waiting for anything to happen. At the same time, I was taking my gun out of its case and getting it ready for whatever was about to pop off. I own a Glock 19. I shot mine before at a gun range, but never had another human being. I always kept it in my car just in case anything went down. I was on go. By now, I had been watching my house and the car for about 5 minutes. I noticed nothing out of the ordinary, so I stepped out of my car. I was nervous, but I've dealt with burglaries in the past and they didn't faze me too much. I left my car door ajar, so I didn't make any noise slamming it. I crept slowly up to my front door to find it completely intact, but when I twisted the knob, it was unlocked. Oh shit, I thought now. I knew for a fact I never left my house doors unlocked, not even any windows. I didn't even own a spare key. This shook me for a hot minute. I said fuck it and twisted the knob and pushed the door open. I did it quickly and I hit the door stopper really hard, making a loud thud. About a millisecond later, I heard a door shut. I scanned my living room and kitchen quickly. Then I ran down the hall of my house. My room sat at the end of the hall. I tried to open my door, but it was locked. I pushed it against it with my shoulder a couple times until it broke. I fell forward into the room. When I entered, my window was wide open. I ran back toward the front door. I was heading outside when I saw the car in front of my house trying to pull away. Now, there was a dead end at the end of my street. You can notice it from my front yard. So the car attempts to make a U-turn through my neighbor's yard across the street. By now, I had my Glock 19 raised and I began firing. I shot out the back window and the two windows on the driver's side. I had no clue if I hit the pussy or not. Anyway, I pull out my phone and dial 911. They send units and I decide to go back in my house and wait. I assessed the damages. My TV was pulled off the wall and smashed. My PS4 was smashed on my kitchen floor. Every cabinet was open and dishes smashed all over the floor. Damn, I thought to myself. I then went to my room, untouched, besides the wide open window. I was beginning to exit when I noticed something. There was an envelope lying face down on my bed. I stared at it for a moment, thinking to myself. I couldn't think of an explanation. My birthday was 4 months ago. I damn sure didn't put it there. I walk up to it and pick it up. It was blank. I opened it and there I found a Hallmark card. It was a Father's Day card. I was really creeped out. Why was this here? Anyway, I opened it and I was angry. Inside the card it read, "Sorry I missed you. See you soon." The sick fuck who broke in left this. By now the police had arrived and asked me what happened. I went down to the station and gave my statement and description of the vehicle in front of my house. I felt stupid for not getting a plate number, but the officer assured me they would find the perpetrator. I even let them take the Hallmark card to dust for fingerprints or whatever. Anyway, 3 days passed and the officer shows up to my house. He informed me that the car I gave them a description of was found abandoned about 30 miles away. He said there was also blood found in the vehicle. I didn't feel relieved, but it took some pressure off me. I could sleep well at night knowing whoever the bastard was in my house that day, I was able to wound. I haven't been in the deep web since, and haven't had any more break-ins. It's been normal for the past few weeks. I think my life is getting back on track.